Good afternoon, everyone. Hope I am audible to all of you. I'm welcoming you all in the post-lunch session, second session. The second session, the name title of the topic is ANSYS Simulation Solution for Development of Reliable Biomedical Implants. And this expert speaker for this session is Mr. Aslam Maniyar. He is associated with the private organization named as CADFAM. He is working there since 4 years and he is posted there as an application engineer in the computational structural mechanics domain. He has done his master MTech from automobile engineering. He is working in healthcare domain in the field of biomedical implants, biomedical devices, non-linear statistics, linear dynamics, creep and composites, and fatigue. So, without wasting our time, we are waiting for a great session from Aslam Maniyar sir. Sir, I request you to please start your session. You can present your slide on this platform. Maniyar sir.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Professor Utkarsh. I hope my voice is clear to all of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, and thank you for the introduction. So just let me, I'll just share my screen. Let me know once you are able to see my screen. This presentation
Yes,
is
now
visible?
it is. Yes, visible. It is visible.
O- Okay. Okay, so first of all, thank you everyone for giving me a means like opportunity to share my thoughts onto ANSYS simulation over such a platform where all researchers are there. So I thought this discussion will be helpful in terms of understanding the simulation, and specifically we'll discuss some of the simulations which are related to the biomedical applications. And also, I thought of covering some of the other simulation capabilities of ANSYS in terms of the additive manufacturing. So here we will start that with that. So I have created one short agenda for this session. As I understood, my time limit is up to 3. So we will discuss these things in terms of the simulation, ANSYS simulation for healthcare domain. So we will start with some of the introduction. Like my introduction is already Professor Panchali has given. So we will see. We'll go with introduction. Then why simulation is required, and then what solution ANSYS offer in terms of for the biomedical implants, with one a small demonstration to understand how actually we do these kind of simulations. It was like a basic, but yeah, we can go in depth as well for particular specific implants to be tested under simulation environment. Then like as I understood, the most of the biomedical implants are going to be 3D printed and going to be manufactured by additive manufacturing. So ANSYS has simulation solutions for complete additive manufacturing process, to start to with the optimization to printing, then validating that uh, additive manufacturing process in certain aspects such as thermals and thermal distortions and others. So we will discuss that things as well. So whenever you means like in between, if you have any query and any of these slides, please feel free to ask. You can unmute and you can ask, so we can discuss. So it will be like more interactive session if you have any queries at that particular. Okay. So I will just brief you about my background. Where I'm coming, where I'm working. So actually I am the senior application engineer here in CADFAM India Private Limited. I'm based out of Pune. So basically CADFAM Group is a German-based group. We have a 20 plus company. Means like our locations are like a 30 plus locations. Our offices are there with 20 plus countries, and more than 500 plus employees are there. Uh, so CADFIM India is established in 2007. So here, head office in Hyderabad, and now we have our branch offices in Pune, Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, and NCR. So basically, we have the member of Technology Network Alliance, more than 100 customers across all the industries, not only just mechanical CFD. We do have our customers in healthcare and pharma industries as well. So basically, we are into product software and IT solutions, mainly ANSYS, all the simulation softwares, and it's supported other technologies. We are also into services, advice, and know-how support. Services, advice, support, and engineering, and also the know-how transfer of the knowledge, basically for basic to any advanced kind of simulation if you want to do, or the methodology you want to set at your organization. So that know-how transfer is also we can do through multiple training sessions, or we have our customized training module as well. So as an service advice support engineer, we actually do consultancy as well. So we have our team which can build a custom fit solutions, and for that we have more than 100 plus happy customers. So I will not go in detail about these things, so that we will focus on the our topic of our today's discussion topic. So basically, CADFIM group also has rapidly breakthrough in current technologies, basically technologies in terms of like medicines or healthcare. So basically, we have CAE based patient specific planning or surgery. It is important to do that kind of analysis is also we are able to do. And we are having certain experience in in pharmaceuticals, even medical devices, and its packaging developments. Similarly, we do have a certain experience into our like uh, smart city simulations for flood, to understand the flood landscape, as well as the pollutant studies, smoke, chemicals, and crowd simulations. Along with as a third breakthrough in the current and the challenging field is nothing but the additive manufacturing. So we must understand the what are the so we are into we are giving a support and services, as well as giving the knowledge transfer into the additive manufacturing, basically for metal 3D printing, design, printability, process simulations, and even we can customize the processes for customers. So with that, I will start with my today's session. So I just wanted to understand first one thing, all are like you are aware about this simulation, right? You can write into the chat window as well if possible. I'll see that things. Hello, I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Yes.
We are aware
Okay.
of
I hope
simulation,
you.
sir.
Yes. Okay. So I think you are already aware about the simulations, but still I just wanted to give you brief why simulation is important and um, how it is important in any design or product development industries. So basically, through simulation, it drives the innovation. So basically, what happen whenever we have certain product to be manufactured, or certain requirement came, and we have to start any product development. So conventional product development cycle is like that: we have certain requirements or certain requirements from the customer, or sometimes we do have our existing component and we want to increase its capability in terms of quality, or in terms of we want to avoid certain failures. So these requirements we know, and then what we do, we think we do certain brainstorming, we research on that requirement, and we come up with certain solutions. That might be multiple solutions, and on based on that we create certain prototypes, and we test for the physical testing is going to be happen onto that prototype. And after that, what happen if certain that product is going to be a product is fulfilling all our requirements, then what we do, we go for the mass manufacturing, or if that is failing, we go back one step and we change our design, and we try to come up with a final suitable design which will cover our all requirements. So through this product development is a conventional product development cycle, and in which you require more time in terms of like creating a prototype. Then as creating one single prototype, we might require it involves a too much cost. And if that process is repetitively, sometimes as a standard there are always 2 to 3 prototypes we have to build with come up with the final product. For that purpose, we called it as a simulation driven product development. So it will be parallelly it will work with product development team, but through the simulation. So what we do in the simulation is we virtually test that product under all the testing conditions, which it actually taking all the loads in the field. We will apply that kind of load. We virtually test that product under the simulation environment software, and we will come up with certain results to understand whether that product is going to be fail or it will going to be sustain in that scenario. So for that purpose, what it will happen, you can reduce your prototype. So as you reduce your prototype, you will come up with, by doing this kind of analysis or simulation, you will come up with one prototype at right prototype at one time, first time itself. So that will reduce your lower cycle time, product cycle time. As you are reducing the number of prototypes, you will reduce the cost as well. Similarly, you can certain things which we cannot test over the physical test, it has certain complexity, that thing. So we can manage that kind of complexity into the simulation, and we can do that kind of study under the simulation software. And if like we have certain requirements and doing the brainstorming, or I'll say on a ideation or design phase, we might have come up with multiple designs. But because of our product development cycle time, the whatever be the cycle time you have, because of that you cannot test your each and every idea into the like creating prototype for all these things and going to test one each. So that has certain limitations. So through these simulations, what you can do, you can test your multiple ideas, so that way you can drive innovation into your product. You can increase multiple quality by testing each and every aspect of your components or the product, and then it will eliminate the risk, as you already tested all these things under the simulation environment. And because of that, you can eliminate the whatever risks, product failure risks associated for that particular components. So these are the factors which actually driving the simulation usage. So this will be applicable for all kind of product development, like it might be like any automotive industry or any industrial equipment manufacturer, or even some of the manufacturer, they are into like biomedical devices, implants, all kind. So for everybody, this factors are important. So I just wanted to showcase in what like a market segment is ANSYS present. Like healthcare is the main domain under which we have certain streams like cardiovascular system, orthopedic, diagnostic and personalized medicines, biomedical equipments, and even pharmaceutical as well. So ANSYS has a comprehensive solution for each of the sector. Like from cardiovascular, you can do for the pacemakers, even for stent and valves, you can do certain kind of simulations that involves both structural and CFD aspects as well. Then we do have orthopedic implants. With for that you can have other hip prosthesis, knee joints, spinal disorder, even for dental applications as well. So all these are the sub segments of this major segment of the healthcare, under which each of the domain ANSYS has its comprehensive solutions right from the initial. So it is not limited just a structural solutions, but yeah, sometimes like if you go to the stent and walls, so basically it is like a multi-physics scenarios where you want to test certain stent under the structural as well as fluid flow is also important, because important aspect. So it is like nothing but like a structural plus CFD solutions for this kind of applications. So similarly in pharmaceutical as well, like of mixing, HVAC, clean room, drug delivery, for that also ANSYS has the comprehensive solutions. So as a today's session, or for the today's presentation point of view, I'm not going in detail for each and every aspects of the subsegments, but I'll more mainly focus on to the orthopedic as an interest of the time, so that we can cover some of the we can go in detail some of the insights of all the orthopedic implants. Uh, then like if you see, there are the top companies across the healthcare industry which are using ANSYS simulation driven product development solutions with respect to each segment. If you see in cardiovascular, there are Boston Scientific, and even this thoracic. In orthopedic, Stryker is the big name with Zimmer, Dupe. These are the names, these are the companies which are into the healthcare divisions, and they are using the ANSYS solution for their product development, uh, product development research works as well. So with that, I just wanted to go into the subjects of orthopedic implants. So basically, if you see, like whenever we have orthopedic implants, so that might be like a standard orthopedic implants, or sometimes we want to create certain what I'll say a patient specific orthopedic implants. So basically, there are several phases in the life cycle of orthopedic devices, which is nothing but like a conceptualization, design, verification, validation, marketing claim, and post-market evaluations. So basically, as initial simulations, we can tackle this design and verification and validation thing through these simulations, where you basically you wanted to test the scenarios which are nothing but you wanted to understand the strength of your implant, what is the stability, what is the wear characteristics, what are the locking mechanisms, and other aspects which might be specific for that particular implant. So you and these design verification and validation activities, we can basically what currently the most of the players into the implants they are doing, they have to test certain things under experimental testing. There are certain standards are available, ASTM standards are there. So these standards they have to follow for each kind of analysis. Say like for the strength analysis or structure analysis, there is a different ASTM standard for the healthcare, or in for the orthopedic implants. They have to follow that standards, and they have to do the testings, and they have to sometimes and most of the times it requires FDA approval to do all this kind of manufacture the orthopedic implants. So this is the like it will take so much time, so we can reduce that things by doing certain design and verification validation activities inside the simulation software like ANSYS, under which we can perform the static structural analysis, which is nothing but your linear strength and deformation analysis to understand the deformation, stresses, strain, even the what are the forces coming onto the that component. And sometimes what are the fatigue calculations is also important, like if the loading is cyclic in the nature, then component can fail well below its materially limit as well. So for that purpose we have to understand the fatigue characteristics of that component when it is going to be fail, what is the critical part in that, and what will the damage factor or safety factor for that particular component. So for that purpose, we can do the wear analysis as well. Sorry, fatigue analysis. Then wear is also important thing. Like sometimes if I take an example of orthopedic stem, like hip joint, there might be like cup and the that kind of structure is there, so it will continuously it will rub on each other, and because of that you can see certain wear is going to be happen. So we wanted to understand the due to the sliding motion continuously is happening, what will be the wear at that particular location, and we can do that kind of analysis. Then again, dynamic analysis for certain dynamic scenarios, we can perform the dynamic analysis and we can understand the behavior of that component under the dynamic conditions. Impact analysis, yes, this is like a one of the explicit kind of analysis under which impact and drop test also can be done. Say suppose you are the manufacturer and you want to understand, you want to what will happen if this some impact will going to happen onto the product, or sometimes when you are transporting that things, that box under which your implant is placed, it is dropped from certain height, or that we call it as a mishandling. Then in that certain scenario, what will happen to the product? So the packaging is also important. So under that things like product packaging also we can do certain analysis, and these are the certain challenges right now we are facing. So that challenges we can do through the simulation software. Then design optimization. Under design optimization we can do multiple optimization studies, like it might be like for the uh, topology optimization for the weight and the of mass, like material saving purpose, or sometimes I wanted to understand like in every product or every component, the performance will depend upon multiple aspects, multiple parameters. There might be like 10-15 parameters which are affecting the performance of that particular component. We want to understand first initially as what are the major parameters out of like this 10-15 listed, so which are going to directly affect more on my performance. So that sensitivity analysis also we can do under this design optimization. We called it as a parametric optimization, and through this parametric optimization we can come up with like one optimum geometry or optimum solution for that particular thing. So here in a parametric optimization you can optimize like a geometry as well, geometric parameters, forces, and there are many other like you want to do certain mesh convergence study, you can even do that meshing as a parameter, and you can understand the uh, effect of this meshing criteria over the results, and you can come up with the final optimal result. So these are the capabilities for this simulation, and this will for this is from the structural point of view only. I am not involving any kind of CFD and other approach. uh, so for that, if I go again, if you understand like a linear and non-linear structure analysis, you might aware about initially what is meant by linear and non-linear analysis. It's basically in terms of simulation. We called it as a three types of non-linearities are there. It might because if any large deflection or large strain is going to be occur because of the application of force, we call it as a geometric non-linearity. Then there are like in assembly, or if I say joints in the uh, health in a orthopedic, uh, there are multiple joints are there, so that contacts or that joints, any non-linear contacts are there, so these are the contact non-linearity. And the most important thing is about the material, like what kind of materials are you are going to be used. One is like it's a metallic or implant, that is okay, but at the same time I wanted to understand the effect, or I wanted to analyze with respect to certain human anatomy, like with respect to bones and other ligaments. That so ANSYS will ANSYS gives all the capabilities, all the linear and non-linear static structure analysis capabilities, so one can actually test different load conditions, and you can see the stresses deformations on that particular component. So into the linear materials and small deformations, we have all the like a contact, the full contact capabilities are there, under which you can apply linear non-linear contacts as well. And addition to this, we can also apply certain joints which will replicate the which will help to replicate certain joints in the orthopedic study. And for the material models, we like ANSYS gives all the capabilities, like from the plasticity, like basic elastic material properties to all plasticity, even hyperelastic material models are also there. So the material properties are most important thing. So all the material models are available, like plasticity, hyperelasticity, creep, which is again a certain phenomena under which a constant loading are going to be applied onto the certain components. So you will see certain deformations, and that is over a period of time. So this is a long duration phenomena. For that purpose, we require to understand or we have to give a certain material model we have to create, that is a creep material model, depending upon which type of creep it is going to be undergo. Like basically in a creep there are primary, secondary and tertiary creeps are there. So all kind of, so primary and secondary we can simulate directly into the ANSYS. Even we can go for the tertiary creep as well with certain user defined modules. So again, if you have certain smart materials you are using, like for stains and I'll say for this particular stains and walls, you are using a certain specific material or a smart materials or smart alloys are there. So ANSYS has that capabilities under which you can model your smart material behavior for that particular component, and you can test these things. I'm just giving one example, like how what kind of analysis and how analysis process is going to be happen. So basically, this is the example of the hip joint. So you can see this is the assembled hip joint model with respect to cap, stem, and this is the bone. Along with bone, we want going to be test these things. So basically, these certain standards are there to test this kind of. Hello, someone has any? Hello.
No issue, sir. You can
Okay,
continue.
okay. I thought someone unmuted, so I think you have any question. Okay, so so in a static structure analysis, if I tell just wanted to understand the implant strength in terms of whether it is going to take that particular load or not. So if suppose we have an implant which is we have assembled with the bone here, and the implant is a hip joint implant under the cap, stem, and it is embedded into the bone. So basically, if you go to the certain ASTM standards, it gives a certain requirement to test the hip joint under various scenarios, like fast walking, normal walking, when knee bending is there, whenever you are downstairs you are going. So that kind of scenarios you wanted to test, and uh, you have to test for your product implant. So basically what will happen, we have certain gait cycles for that when we are walking. So we can analyze that things, and you can find out maximum load you can or maximum forces which are coming onto the uh, this hip joint. You can understand, like here I have took one normal one conditions where average patient size is patient weight is like a 70 kg. So for that them for the fast walking, it will come like a 1304 Newton load onto the this hip joint. And similarly for normal walking is 1270. When knee bending is going to be happen, it's like a 431 Newton. So it is a standard value we actually I have taken here. So you can model directly as an assemble hip joint. So basically ANSYS can in ANSYS we have a platform for the CAD modifications. We called it as ANSYS Space Claim, under which like you can import your all CAD model which is created into CAD specific tool. It might be like SolidWorks, Creo, or any CATIA. So you can directly import that things into here, and you can do certain cleanup which required to do in for the uh, for going when we have to proceed for the simulations, or you can do certain design changes in required in the Space Claim as well. So now one thing here is like we have implant CAD, but what about the like bones or human like these bones and other parts of the human body? So like for that purpose also we do have certain provisions. Like most of the industries, what they're doing, they're actually scanning the patient's bone. Then that scan data we can convert into the 3D model through certain softwares are present into the market. Like Mimic is the one of the software which can convert your scan data CT scan data into the STL file format, and then we can import that specific patient specific bone data into the ANSYS directly. That STL file format you can directly import, and you can assemble that through the implant, so that you can actually simulating with that particular patient data. So here you can see the boundary conditions applied onto the model. Everything we can do into one user interface into the ANSYS. I think most of you are aware about the ANSYS user interface. You might have known. If not used previously, I can show you into the demo when I'm going to show the demo part as well. So you can apply certain boundary conditions are nothing but the constraints and the loading which are coming onto that particular heat joint. So basically right now here we have constraining all here at the bottom side, and we are applying to all the loads onto the basically onto the joints. And then we can see the stress contour as well as the deformation contours for specific so the both are the stress contours. For one is like a 1304 load, which is a fast walking, and the second is for the normal walking, and the stress distribution you can get to understand whether the stress are beyond the limit or within the limit. If that is on beyond the limit, so what kind of certain changes we have to do, that we will understood, and we can change that things. So this is the one of the example when we can do the structure analysis to understand the strength of the implants with respect to certain actual loading which will coming onto that particular implant. Then this is another example. Basically, there is one standard called ASTME F2665, which speak in terms of the standard specification for total ankle replacement prosthesis. So basically, in this we with respect to certain gait cycle, this is the loading through the gait cycles for the ankle. We want to understand the contact pressures at the ankle replacement. So you can see this is the lab test setup where we want to test the whatever the contact pressure coming on that particular interface with respect to the certain gait cycles. So gait cycle is 10%, 40%, 60%. We can check, and we can this is the test setup where we actually wanted to predict the contact pressure. Similarly, we can replicate that thing entirely into the simulation. We can create that model. This is total ankle replacement model. You can create and you can do certain pre-processing like meshing and everything. You can apply the loading condition as per the this patient specific foot model. Whatever be the loading coming onto that through that gait cycle, you can apply that things here, and you can do the gait simulations for these things, and you can get the contact, normalize the bearing contact pressure. So which will understand from through which you will understand the what is the contact pressure is going to be generated over if the gate cycle is going to be processed from 10% to like 90% of the time. So through this, these forces are going to be applied here, and you can see the normalized contact pressure onto that things. So basically, you can perform this based on associated with this ASTME standards. Then if you want to, like, sometimes it is important to understand or important to analyze the analyze on the patient specific knee joints. Everything is the patient specific bones are there, that knee model is there, and with respect to that we want to understand, there are different tests which we do for knee modeling, like flexion or extension test we do certain for the knee models. So for that kind of test, and we want to actually model the patient's data into the simulation and understand what will be the reaction forces are coming, and if I do certain flexion, what will be the stresses coming onto the other components, like ligaments, how they are going to be stretched. These are the information is important while we are dealing with the knee surgery, like that things. So this is the one of the example for the this is the data is present for this like a right knee of 70-year-old female. So how that data is created with multi-plane scans they did initially, and with respect to that scanning MRI, they converted that 3D STL file format for that things. So what kind of robotic testings they have done is like measurement of joint kinematics or kinetics, and the other measurements for ACL lengths, DVRT microstrains, how the strains are going to generate, everything they wanted to understand. So you can see the degree of freedom in flexion and extension test, what is the range of motion. These are the these information you can get, and through that you want what are the for range for the loads which are going to be coming while I'm doing the flexion and extension test, and even anterior and posterior translations we are going to do. Then this kind of range is there, and this kind of loads are going to be coming onto that particular knee joint. So how one can model this through this ANSYS is like basically you can see this is the knee model which is done into the simulations, like all the gray parts are bones, these are the dark blues are the cartilage, and even you can see the ligament bone contacts are here, and this is the anterior this uh, anterior and posterior ligaments are there. This is the red colors which actually work like a spring in the human knee, and not exactly but we can model it as an spring like structure into the simulations. And then we wanted to understand when the flexion is going to be happen, what will be the contact pressures are going to be generated here into the cartilage contacts or cartilage meniscus contacts, whichever my interested contact to understand or do the study. So here the challenges is the modeling exactly the like and modeling the exact bones or cartilage, and giving the material properties to uh, behave like that 70-year-old females right knee. So for that purpose we have certain like bones. We don't want to understand understand any stresses deformations in that particular bone, so we have understood as a rigid body we can assign. But yeah, cartilage, menisci and ligaments are most important thing, and we want to understand the forces or uh, forces or stresses and contact pressure onto that. So we have to model correctly. So for cartilage we can use a Neo-Hawkinian model. There are different models are available in ANSYS, under which you model with respect to cartilage nearly incompressible Neo-Hawkinian. Even the bones like the menisci are the orthotopic hyperelastics in nature. So orthotopic hyperelastic models we can model, even transverse isotropy hyperelasticity. Through this we can actually model the this kind of ligaments and cartilage. Then basically we can simulate for dynamic analysis. Like I want to give the certain flexion for this flexion is nothing but the fixed rotations we have to give there. So typical load scenario we can see like flexion, so 2.5 seconds we want to apply certain low degree of rotation for that particular bones, and then there is the fixed flexion anterior drawer force is going to be applied. So these are the tests which actually healthcare I think most of the doctors might be aware about these things. They actually do that things, and then they wanted to apply certain load at that particular locations, and with respect to that we want to understand the strains at various positions, how the strains are going to be come onto that particular uh, locations when 0 degree rotation, 30 degrees, 60 degree and 90 degree. If you see the 90 degrees rotations we are going to do, the strain values are going to be increased. So I just wanted to show here is through this is like we can go for the artificial, like whatever the implant you are going to, which might be metallic implants, you can test independently. You can test with like bones, or you can actually create your patient scan data, and you can understand the exact contact pressures or strains are going to be generated for the patient specific data. So everything can be possible through these simulations. So now the another thing is like the fatigue analysis. So like a common cause of structural failure is fatigue. So it is nothing but the cyclic rotation, cyclic loading are coming onto the component, and because of that cyclic loading or under that cyclic conditions, a specific after specific cycles that product is going to be fail. So under fatigue we have a high cycle fatigue, low cycle fatigue. So ANSYS can simulate both kind of fatigue analysis. So for that purpose, the what common output we are actually wanted is nothing but like a life, means with respect to that specific cycles, how much life is there for that particular component, means how much cycles it will sustain before going to be fail. You can see the damage factors, you can get the safety factors, and for doing this kind of analysis we require certain material property which we called it as a SN curve, which is nothing but the alternative stress versus cycles graph. So if we are going for the high cycle fatigue, it is a SN curve, and if you want to understand the low cycle, or when we are going to use the strain life approach, we called it as EN curves. So for that purpose, I'll show one example here. So for this fatigue analysis also, like there is one standard called ISO 72064, which basically which is the basic standard of the fatigue test for the hip stem during the gait cycle, whatever be the gait cycle is there. So you can see on right side here the this is the test setup. You can see where you actually placed your hip stem, and then you test specimen, then you can apply certain loading for certain cycles, and you can see the fatigue failure after certain cycles. So this kind of experimental testing you can replicate into the ANSYS, and with respect to accordance with this ISO 7206, you can simulate the dynamic loading of them during the gait. So for this purpose, you require the material SN curve. So most of the time the alloys are there, titanium alloys are going to be used for the hip stem. So through this, you can actually do first structure analysis to understand the stresses first. What are the principal stress counters you can take, and then with respect to that stress, fatigue is nothing but the post processing through the our structure analysis, and with respect to certain cycles you can test, and you can get the results where when it is going to be fail. So basically through simulations what we can do, we can simulate worst case condition and replicate the clinical failure which is going to be happen. Another important aspect about the implants is wear, and for them also, for this also we have certain standards which for particularly implant or for particular biomedical implants we have certain standards. So what wear means, wear is understood as a surface material removal process due to the relative motion, and sometimes it might be like a chemical reason which is called as a corrosion as well. So in structure analysis we can simulate the wear, and if it is because of certain like a corrosion scenario, like that thing is there. So we have to take help of the CFD solvers where you can actually predict the corrosion as well. So what are the factors are affecting onto the wear analysis is like surface geometry, applied loads, what is relative sliding velocity, what are the properties for that engaging materials. These are most important things which are affecting onto that. And it can divide it into two: adhesive wear and abrasive wear. So adhesive is nothing means like a micro welds are going to be attached onto the other components, like you can see here. And in material transfer can be happen. In abrasive is nothing but the wear is nothing but the material losses which can be happen. So so how ANSYS is going to help to do this kind of analysis? So ANSYS has a specific arc wear modeling into which we can calculate the amount of wear based on the arc wear model and certain user defined wear model as well. So on what a principle it actually work, the arc wear model is based on the rate of wear, this expression which is nothing but the function of the contact pressure, material hardness, and sliding velocity, and sliding velocities. So basically what we do, we actually do, we perform the structure analysis and we calculate the contact pressure at that particular locations, and through this we, with respect to the whatever loadings are there, the sliding velocity is associated with respect to the friction at that two contact locations, and depending upon that actually can predict the rate of wear. So all material parameters can be function of temperature here, because whenever sometimes we wanted to understand, like because of the friction the heat also can be generated at that particular location, and because of that also wear mechanism can be changed. So wear with respect to temperature also can be possible. Then you can use as a material hardness can be function of the yield stress for that particular elements. So this in detail analysis also possible if you want to understand, you want to add the material hardness with respect to yield stress, or material parameter with respect to temperature dependent material properties you want to use, we can apply that things as well. So one of the example here, like wear behavior appearing in the total hip prosthesis. So basically in artificial hip joint, the basically you can see there is a femoral head is there, and the acetular cup is also there. This is a cup and this is the femoral head is there, and which is made up of different material, which is one is made up of the stainless steel, another is ultra high molecular weight polyethylene with certain dimensions. And you can see certain loading stages with respect to loading stages are there, forces acting onto the hip joint in one gate cycles. You can see the maximum force is going up to 350 Newton. So you can apply this all loadings, and you can actually do certain wear modeling analysis to get the wear depth with respect to material removal, or with respect to the gate cycles, and with you can actually see the wear volume as well. So this kind of analysis also can be possible. So this is the majorly doing or I will say the major challenges or major requirement of the orthopedic implants are there. So under which we can do all kind of study from not it is not limited to very basic like a structure analysis or just dynamic analysis, but yes, you can add the patient specific data directly, over which we have certain material models. Though we have not gone very extensively in detail in that, because this stream it's very vast, means like the material model is a different topic. So if you want, anyone has to understand more in detail, we can connect in means like in other session which will speak in terms of the material modeling, or any specific challenges you are facing, we can discuss on that as well. So these are the common analysis which are going to be performed into the orthopedic implants. So through that you can create the reliable orthopedic implant by simulating into the ANSYS. So you can actually go for the parametric optimization as well. You can do parametric optimizations, or you can do certain design optimization for them, or you can do certain fatigue dynamic analysis also you can perform. I will not cover about the explicit over which you can actually create the you can actually test if mishandling is going to be happen for the package of orthopedic implant. So it is going to be dropped, or it is going to be impacted over certain other component or other objects. So that all study also we can do. As an interest of time, I have not included that things. So that things also can be possible, and that will also help us to design the implant which will be reliable, and which will sustain the or which will fulfill all our requirements. So apart from this, I just wanted to add one more thing here is like, most of the time when we are going to do certain simulation or analysis, as of all you know, we require certain inputs, and that inputs are nothing but like your material property, your CAD model, your initial design, your boundary conditions, which are nothing but your constraint and the loading loading conditions, and these are the inputs are required. And among these, the material data is most important thing. Like whenever if you see we wanted to go for certain analysis and material data is not exactly correct, then if you can do the analysis but you don't have any trust onto that result. So basically when simulation and whatever be data you are feeding, it is like garbage in garbage out. If you are not providing the correct material property or correct boundary conditions, or not modeling with respect to exact conditions, you are not able to predict the right results or from this. And most of the times what happen, we do not have the exact material data for simulation. And for what we do, we are facing these challenges. Every simulation engineer, we are facing these challenges. uh, Sometimes our vendor can provide certain basic informations of material, which is like mechanical properties like density, Young's modulus, Poisson's ratio. These are available, or sometimes that also we are not available, we are not having. So what we do, we search on internet, we ask our vendors to give certain specific data, which requires for again he has to test, which will again take some time. Cost will also involve there. And sometimes we are having a engineering stress and strain curve. Basically whatever be the testing we are doing, like universal testing machine, to get the linear properties that are giving us the engineering stress and strain, which is actually not the true stress strain graph. But whenever we are going to be uh, going to do analysis, we require the true stress strain graph. Then that challenge also is with us, like how we can convert that engineering strain stress curve to the true stress strain curve. So that is the one challenge again most of the engineers or simulation engineers are facing. And if we have certain material data but that are not into the consistent format, like it might not be in the unit system which we have required, or every data has in different unit systems, we have to collect that data, we have to make them into one consistent format, and then we have to import or we have to apply that data. And these are the challenges. And the most last one is the most important. I feel most of the time what happen, as we are having very limited material property like linear analysis, which is useful for the linear analysis like density, Young's modulus, and Poisson's ratio, but we want to do certain again certain advanced analysis like fatigue. Now we have to do, we require a SN curve for that. Or if you want to go for any other analysis, like I want to go for non-linear analysis entirely, so I require the material non-linear curve as well. So which is not with me. Then what happened, we are limiting our solutions. We are only relying on the structure analysis itself, or we are assuming certain properties and we are doing the analysis. So these all are the challenges we are right now facing while doing these simulations. So to overcome this challenge, ANSYS come up with one solution for the specifically for the materials. We called it as the Granta MDS, which is nothing but material data for the simulation. So it is a curated material data by a data analyst for the simulation. So it has an encyclopedia of the uh, material encyclopedia for all kind of materials like metals, plastics, and other polymers. Everything is there, under which you have more than, like in recent version is more than 800 material data. Material properties are there, which are nothing but some are properties which are temperature dependent properties also involved, uh, and then which we can directly couple with our ANSYS mechanical, where we do a structure analysis. We can directly call that material which is already in the consistent format which is required to do a simulation. You can just call that material property and you can assign for that particular component and you can do the analysis. So this is the reliable material data library where you can need to do your analysis. So what it will help, it is nothing but it has easy to assess, simulation ready, then support for multi-physics. Even you can rely on to that particular data because a dedicated team of data analysts is working on, and it is validated for ANSYS solver, and this all data is validated for the ANSYS solver as well. So this is about the Granta MDS. So with that, I will just show you one, I'll demonstrate one short I'll give one short demo how to do a simple analysis. Say suppose I want to understand the static structure or a strength analysis of the hip joint, which is made up of the titanium alloy. I'll just switch my screen. Just a minute. I hope you can see once again my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So so this is the user interface of the ANSYS software, which we called it as ANSYS Workbench, where all kind of analysis you can do. You can see here the analysis systems are there, under which all the analysis are listed here, which are even fluid is also there. Certain structural analysis, static structure analysis is there. Thermal analysis, all analysis are there. Even you can see certain dynamic analysis like random vibration, harmonic analysis, everything is there. And this is your project schematic window, under which you can import directly your geometry. So right now I already imported one thing. I'll just show you what is the geometry, and then we will see the how we are going to model that things, and we can take the results. So basically in simulation there are three basic steps are there. One is pre-processing, second is the solver part, and third is the post-processing. So most important as a time consuming work is about the pre-processing. So where we have to create we have to take geometry, like this is one of the example of the hip stem. You can see, uh, and you have to make this as a ready to use as a simulations. You can do certain cleanup is required. So this is the interface of ANSYS SpaceClaim, where which you can create your own geometry, a simple geometries as well, or sometimes it requires to do certain cleanup. Like I do not want certain threads which is associated for bolts, or when I'm going to be up into working in assembly there are bolts, so that threads are not required. Or even some of the very small minute features which are there, which are important as a part of design, but as a part of analysis we do not require. Then we can delete that things, and we can delete that things here. Even if you go for CFD analysis, fluid volume extraction, and all these things, everything we can do into the ANSYS SpaceClaim. This is the SpaceClaim environment under which you can do all these things. It's very easy actually. And this is the hip stem, for which we want to understand whether it is going to be sustained the loading coming, which is a worst condition loading coming onto that particular component. So once we have imported the geometry, you can import basically others geometry as well. All the supported file formats are there. You can import like a majorly third-party application tool like I'll say neutral file format like Parasolid. You can import the STL file format. You can import the step file format. Every file format can be directly imported here. You can directly import from the NX and other tools, 3D tools as well here. Then once you imported the geometry, then like I'll just showcase here, like I have the geometry here. I can just took this into here, and then I can just import the geometry here from when doing the browsing. Okay, and then once I have imported, I want to do the structure analysis. So I'll just put the static structure analysis and I'll drop here directly. So it will connect directly here the geometry. So if I just took the static structure analysis, I can import here as well as a geometry. No need to take another geometry. But sometimes what happen, I have to the geometry is too much, too many components are there. I do not want everything, so I'll clean up one in first, and then I will connect into these things. Then as in pre-processing part, the most important thing is about the material. So you can see on the engineering data when you click here, you can see all the engineering data available here. So by default, ANSYS use this structural steel. So these are the material properties are available with for structural steel. So ANSYS has its own inner library. Okay, so this is the Granta which I was speaking, but this is not actually that one. It's a sample Granta material data which is ANSYS has added here. Even it has a general material properties for like cast iron, magnesium, polyethylene, silicon, even titanium alloy. If you click onto that, you will see the material properties which are listed here. So all the structural like related like a density, for doing certain thermal analysis, you require coefficient of thermal expansion. Then this Young's modulus, Poisson's ratio, bulk modulus, shear modulus, all are required here. I can just add here as a plus sign, and it will going to be added into my analysis. Or if I do not have any whatever material I'm using, that is like I do not see in material library here, so I can create my own material library as well. Like I'll show you here. So it will not clean the results of other. Suppose I wanted to create one titanium alloy, which is I have made, and I have these certain material properties for that. So you can create your more material model, like you can add the physical property as a density, whatever with the density with respect to that particular unit system, you can add. Or you can add other material linear elastic properties like isotropic elasticity. You can add Young's modulus, Poisson's ratio, and shear modulus. If your material is orthotopic in nature, you can add the orthotropic elasticity as well. And whenever you want to add a plasticity into it, like a nonlinear behavior, so we have certain material models like bilinear or multilinear isotropic hardening, or even with respect to certain different type of kinematic hardenings or isotropic hardenings, you can apply the material there. Even we have certain hyperelastic material models along with this, for which uh, like there are Neo-Hawkinian and Munir-Revlin. These are the material models which are used for hyperelastic material properties. You can apply the creep material properties as well with respect to creep model. And for when you are going for the fatigue analysis, you can apply the SN curve as well, which is nothing but the your true strain alternating stress versus cycle. This graph is there, so you can apply that things. I can show you the for the sample which is for the structure analysis is having. You can see the elastic properties, Young's modulus, Poisson's ratio. You can see the strain life. This is the elastic strain, plastic strain, and total strain life parameters are there. And even you can see the SN curve for this particular structural steel, like number of, these are the cycles and this is the alternating stress, and you can see the resulting SN curve graph. Okay. So this way you can add your own material property as well, or if you have any material property available in this model, you can directly add that things. So if I double click onto the model, it will open one window. We call it as ANSYS Mechanical. I believe most of you are aware about these things, might be have worked in your academics into the ANSYS, so you might aware about the user interface or you have used ANSYS in your academics. So you can see this is the mechanical window under which we do all kind of analysis. So for that purpose, as a pre-processing, you can apply materials, you can mesh this one, you can apply certain connections. If the assemblies are there, you can apply joints, and then you can apply certain support and loading conditions, and you can solve and you can see the results in same window itself. So if you see here into the geometry, you can see this component is there, and into this property, the material assignment is titanium alloy. So what I have we have did here is like I have applied the titanium alloy as the material property for this, because most of the hip implant, they are made up of the titanium alloy itself. So I just wanted to add this, so I added this Young's modulus, Poisson's ratio, even SN curves for that as well I have added, so I can even proceed further for the fatigue analysis as well. So then the materials, like here I told you Granta library, so material data for selections. So you can see this is a Granta material data for simulations. So if I check here and if I search, just 1 minute. So if I click here and if I search these things, I will get all the material which are under the Granta MDS, which is material data for simulations, with respect to certain standards as well for the material properties. If I check for aluminum alloy, you can get the aluminum alloy 319 grade permanent mold cast, which is, it will show you the description here. And then from where the data is coming, the data is coming from the JAM, which is the well-known material testing agency, under which you will get the certain temperature dependent material data. So you can see here the density, then you can see the isotropic elasticity, again with the function of temperature you can see, which is applied. Then it's a bilinear hardening, isotropic hardening, you can see. Then coefficient of thermal expansion with respect to temperature you can see. Then SN curves also you have. Then ultimate tensile strain, thermal properties are there, which is thermal conductivity when we are going to do certain thermal analysis or heat transfer analysis under conduction. So this property is also important. So these are there. Certain specific heat constant pressures are there. Isotropic resistivity is also important when we are going to do certain electric analysis or analysis. So with respect to this, you can see all kind of, with respect to certain grades, you are seeing all the material properties are available. Not only aluminiums, we have brass, most of the material properties are there. Even certain composites are also available, or even you are going to do certain PCB electronic, you can see here the plastics, certain epoxy resins are there. These all properties are available under the Granta MDS, and you can directly add these things into the simulation, and you can assign directly these material properties to any of the component in your assembly. So next thing is like you can do the certain meshing things. For this, you can apply certain loading conditions. The connection is one more part where contacts, whenever you have two or more components in your assembly, you have assembly of the components and it is connected with certain connections, like bolted, or certain joints are there, or certain non-linear contacts are there. So through this, which can create the contact region for this. Even you can model the spring or bearings, or even you can add the beams as well. So this you can do under the connection groups. And the mesh, which is a by default generated mesh, but ANSYS do have its own meshing capabilities, under which you can control the algorithm, what are the mesh is going to be generated. So it depends upon the geometry, how the geometry is basically, depending upon, we have all the elements 1D, 2D or 3D elements also available with respect to that particular analysis. With respect, we are having all the degrees of freedom. So it has also having certain special elements as well, which have both the mechanical and CFD, or mechanical thermal or mechanical degrees of freedom. So And then you can actually apply certain sizing, contact sizing, mesh, pinch, inclination. These are the local controls through which you can create your meshing here. And you can apply the sizing. So here basically the element size is 6.4 mm is applied, and it is parameterized to understand the mesh convergence study. And then under the static structure analysis, you can apply all kind of loads. You can see these are the loading conditions. So other like acceleration, standard earth gravity, rotational velocity, rotational acceleration, these are the loads which are the body centric loads. You can apply pressure, hydrostatic pressure, bolt pretension, remote forces, even joint load. If you want to simulate any of the joint and you want to apply certain joint load on that, so you can apply that things. And these are the fixed support. These are the different kind of supports: displacement, remote displacement. So in short, it has all the right module, right boundary conditions or support conditions are there, through which you can replicate your real life problem into the simulation environment. So here what I did, I just created like one fixed support I have given, which is going to be fixed all in all degrees of freedom. And with respect to certain loads are going to be applied here, which is 2300 in this downward direction. Actually, with respect to certain inclination, it is going to be applied depending upon the that heap joint. So you can create your own local coordinate systems, or you can apply into these coordinate systems as well. And then after analyzing this, you can see certain maximum principal stresses coming onto these locations, or you can see the complete, you can add the stress here, all kind of stress. Like say I want to go for maximum principal stress, and I can directly evaluate these things here directly. So you can see this is the stresses coming. So maximum stress is coming at 331 at this particular location. So this is with respect to a coarse meshing which we have done. But similarly, if I want to do some mesh convergence, I can change the mesh size here directly and I can do the analysis. But as I just wanted to show the parametric optimizations thing, so I just parameterize this element size, and you can see as soon as I parameterize this thing, you can see one of the parameters set here, right? So like you can see, this the mesh element is the parameter, as well as the maximum and output maximum principal strain, it is again a parameterized. And mesh element and number of nodes and elements also are parameterized. If you see here, as a maximum principal stress, I want to check here, so it is maximum we have parameterized. As well as into the statistics, you can see nodes and elements, number of nodes and elements are also here. So this is just wanted to showcase you parametric optimization. Then I can create my design points. Say like my mesh element size, I'm reducing, I'm going more and more fine mesh, doing fine mesh. And through that, I just wanted to understand the stress. So you can see stress is going to be increased, but at certain after certain point of time, like from 6.4 mm to 3.2, you can see certain drastic change, like 337 to 351. Then 400 when we are going from 0.8 mm. So from 6 to 0.8, it is giving me a drastic change. But afterwards, the mesh, whenever I'm going to go again finer and finer, the accuracy means like the stress is not going to be changed. So at particular limit, after a particular limit, it will not change any. So here it is going to be converged basically. So this way you can parameterize the forces as well. Say suppose I want to parameterize the force value, you can just click here as a P and you can parameterize the force as well. Want to check up to what level I can go. So this is the simple example of the when you can test one single as a orthopedic this hip joint. Or there is one more example I just wanted to showcase, which is with respect to some of the other applications. Like I just wanted to add the bone also into it. So I will go to the geometry, just 1 minute. So again, I'm opening a space claim to show you the geometry which I have used. So here you can see the geometry is like this is the bone, which actually STL file format. If I hide this thing, you can see the stem is here, and if I inverse the visibility, this is the bone actually, and it is going to sit inside this. So with respect, if you can scan this data, you can import the STL file format directly a specific bone to the ANSYS here, and then you can go to the engineering data. Now I want to define the material properties for each and every object. So you have a cap, you have a bone as well, so you can create your own material property for this bone. You can use as a simple as a linear model, or you want to go in detail, you can define you can model in detail as well. So whenever you see here in mechanical, now this is the STL file. Now I haven't considered the club this acetubular cup and the plastic liner into this. I just took only this here prosthesis, and with respect to bone, I just wanted to do the analysis. I just create one bonded contact between these two here, and then I just mesh these things, and I apply the certain loading condition with respect to the normal walking, and here in second, when we are going for the fast walking. So two conditions I have tested here, and you can see the results by fixing fixed support is here. I have just fixed these things, and you can see the stresses here, basically what the stresses are coming for these things. So you can see the maximum stress is coming here is like 16 megapascal, and depending upon the material properties which we have used, I have used ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. So you can see its material properties also here as Young's modulus, Poisson's ratio, and its tensile yield is 35 megapascal. So it means it can sustain, it will not go and undergo any permanent deformation here, as the stress value is 16 megapascal. So this is the structure analysis. On top of it, you can do the fatigue analysis as well. So for that purpose, you can just add the fatigue tool and specific type of loading. It is a zero-based loading or fully reversed loading or ratio, or even you have any history data, you can add that history data here, and you can choose the analysis type, which kind of analysis type you want to use, stress life, strain life, and depending on which stress component you want to choose, you can choose that things, you can extract that stress component. And with respect to there are I think you are aware upon, there are multiple mean stress theories are there. With respect to this, you can choose each one of it, and you can do the analysis to get the number of means like when the fatigue you can do the fatigue analysis to get the life of that component. So this is the I just wanted to give you just a brief overview about the tool and how the analysis are going to do. I hope this will helpful to you to understand what we can do under I took a very simple, but yeah, we can do we can go for advanced analysis as well, and for that purpose certain understanding of tool is required as a pre-processing part, or as a prerequisite part as well. So with that, you have any question on this part till we have discussed?
If anyone have a question, can ask Maniyar sir. Sir,
Okay.
still it is remaining from your side.
Yes, yes. I just wanted to go with additive quickly. I think we have time, right? 5-10 minutes.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
I have a
Sir,
question.
Yes, yes. Hello, I'm unable to hear you. I guess you're speaking, Mr. Hari.
sir, I'm Harikran here, sir. Nice to have a good session with you. So, if whether we can do some failure mode analysis and root cause analysis, if there is a implant has been done with the patient, so they had some major injury, like recently some news also came. So post of this, can we do an analysis? What is the root cause? How it is made analysis? what can be the problem and what can be the preferable solution? Like, can we do some kind of analysis with these answers?
Yes, some kind of analysis. I'm not sure what kind of root cause you are asking, but yeah, we can do that things like we can do certain root cause analysis as well to understand what, because sometimes what happen in while doing the surgery as well, uh, the mismatch will happen and the surgery will not happen correctly, so that orientation and everything is important. The alignment is important. For that purpose, I saw certain industries, we have certain case studies also for that, to understand the alignment before hand only while doing for the surgery itself, so what the complications will happen in future. So that kind of study is there, but I actually not got what kind of root cause you wanted to understand. But yes, we can discuss this further as a separate session as well, if you want. I can
Okay.
share my
Okay,
details.
sir.
Okay. So
Okay, sir.
just
Thank you, sir.
quickly, we have a 10 minutes of time, I guess. I believe 5-10 minutes of time. So I'll just go through this additive part as well, which is also might be interesting thing. So additive manufacturing thing. So basically, in additive manufacturing, we have certain challenges like cost, repeatability, reliability, and the qualification. Why? Because the metal additive manufacturing equipment is very costly. Material and human resources again costly. So there are hundreds of machine and material parameters impact the part of quality. So that things are very much challenging for the doing the additive manufacture, use of the additive manufacturing for the creating that part. So for these are the challenges, and we do have certain like simulation solutions for that. And simulation also actually changing the or or I will say it is giving impact onto the additive manufacturing process in terms of the cost reduction. Like you can reduce up to 75% cost. Even lead time of you can reduce, and you can reduce the weight as well through doing this additive manufacture simulation on additive manufacturing. So what capabilities ANSYS simulation capabilities are there? It is nothing but like we have designed for additive manufacturing, then build setup, process simulation, material science, material analysis, data capture and management, and validation and the part qualification. I'll brief you each thing in short you. So these are the additive solutions in which you can ANSYS can offer these solutions, like a design for additive manufacturing, where you can actually design, you can build the setup, like a build the what I will call it as a support systems, and you can simulate exactly process simulation to understand the thermal distortions, blade crash. Even you can do the material analysis to understand material porosity, where the smelt pool, and the all data management. You can create, capture and manage that data and part qualification. So through ANSYS simulations, you can go for all the design, like design for manufacturing, like CAD modeling you can do under this. You can create the topology optimization, or even you can do the topology optimization or optimization through lattice structure optimization also you can do for a lightweightening. Then you can create the build setup STL file format, what are the build setup, then orientation guidance, what are the orientations are required, how the builds supports are going to be proceed, on what phases support I can apply, so I can minimize the volume, I can minimize the build setup timing. Then process simulations, I can do the metal process simulations, to which I can understand the distortion, compensation, build failure. And then we can create, do the material analysis as well, under which you can do the curated material property database. You can understand the grain morphology predictions, melt pool and porosity predictions. These things you can do, and on top of it you can do the data acquisition management, under which ANSYS Granta, uh, one of the packages, different packages there, MI, which will give you the ability to what I will say to create all the data management centrally, and which will use for further choosing the right machine and right material property for that, doing that kind of additive print. Also, you can do the part qualification. Not only just you can optimize, you can build setup, you can but you validate optimized part through certain static and thermal analysis, structure and thermal analysis as well. So I will not go in this, but yes, you can do the lattice web, like this is the optimization. You can do the lattice optimization, or you can do the topo optimization for that particular part. And with respect to you, if you have a structural part, you can do the optimization. You can study that after whether it is going to be that you can validate that optimized part is going to be sustain that loading or not, and then you can print that things, and everything you can do into one user interface of ANSYS. So you can build setup as well. Hello, I think I'm giving some background noise. So here so part orientation also important. So where you can
Sir, your voice is not coming. Please unmute your mic, Aslam sir.
it went on mute, I guess. Sorry. Now it is audible, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, we have to understand the support volume, build time, and distortion. We have this heat map you can generate into the ANSYS, and in this green zone, which will show you that the less support volume will require build time and distortion tendency. So I'll not go in detail about this, but just I'll show you the overview. So if you have any specific challenge, we can connect again for a specific additive session as well. So in process simulations also, what we can do the process simulation to predict the distortion, how much the thermal distortion is there, so you can get that distortion shape geometry, or the you understand how the distortion is occurring. You can also avoid the blade crash, and then you can determine the stresses, strain, and even if you want to do certain heat treatment analysis on top of it, you can do that things as well. And into the material analysis, if you see, this is the scanning velocity versus laser parameter graph. If scanning velocity is high and laser power is very low, you will see the lack of fusion. Uh, what I will say, certain a lack of fusion error will come into the printed part. And if the laser power is very high and scanning velocity is less, then the keyhole formation will be happen, or you sometimes you will get the balling up. This kind of error will you get. So this is the inside the conduction mode zone where you wanted to do your optimize your scanning velocity and laser power. So you can understand this kind of analysis. Then you can actually understand the melt pool predictions. You can see the porosity predictions. You can go for the microstructure predictions as well. And then you can in Granta MI, you can actually this is the platform where you can add all your data. You can project data with respect to the material properties, the machine details, the other 3D printed material parameter details, everything, and you have this traceability at your tip. So basically it has all the, so we have a workflow which will give you all the capabilities of design for additive manufacturing, validate these, build setup or process simulations, and even qualification of that part as well. So we have complete comprehensive workflow for additive manufacturing. So this is one of the case study for the Volmo, who are into the orthopedic implant. Basically for the customized patient implant, they have used the ANSYS mechanical solution to virtually test their implant, and also the additive solutions for, they actually printed this implant. Their manufacturing process was additive. So through additive manufacturing, they build that things. So everything they are virtually simulated in ANSYS mechanical, and also they take a help of the additive solutions from the ANSYS, and they come up with certain key results like ANSYS mechanical simulations assure their team to model was viable design. They have greatly reduced the number of physical bench tests, save both time and money. Money. So this is from my side. I guess I have reached my time limit. So if you have any questions, or this is my contact details. If you want to connect in person, or if you have any specific challenge in terms of additive manufacturing or any simulation work, so you can connect us. We are happy to help you. Happy to help you.
Thank you very much, Maniyar sir. I think you have included all the aspect of the simulation to the 1.5 hour of the session. But I think it was really a very interactive session with a demonstration of the how the implant can be tested onto the simulation software. Sir, I have one question regarding the that mesh you were talking about, the mesh volume or element volume you were talking about. So you have fixed to 6.2. So if we reduce the element volume, what will be the change in the parameter which we are analyzing with the software? That is my question. And second question, sir, you have interfaced the bone with the implant itself. So there is two possibility. Even if your implant is not deteriorating, and even if your implant is appropriate, sometimes it happens in the case of or the disease of the osteoporosis and the rheumatoid arthritis patients, that their residual bone is deteriorating because of the wear and tear. So sometimes what happens, that medical implant which we have implanted, say for example, if it is a knee implant, so even if the implant itself is perfect, but because of the wear and tear of the residual bone, it will be loosened.
Understood.
This is the case. So can we model some of the parameter which is associated with the bone itself? Can we fix the porosity and some of the biological aspect of the bone? Is it possible? There are my two
Yeah.
questions.
Okay. So I'll go one by one. Like one thing you just asked about the mesh volume. Okay. This I have parameterized, like I did the I used the 6.4 as the material element size, and with this is the size of this element. Basically, if I select this element, so basically meshing is nothing but we are dividing this into number of nodes and elements. So infinite domain into we are converting into the finite domain to use our finite element analysis, which rightly said. So what I did, I just used a 6.4 I do not know how much is how. So basically, the study is done for the convergence, mesh convergence. At initially, I don't know which will be the good mesh size where which I can get the analysis, right results. So what I did, I just initially applied 6.4 then I parameterized these things, and then I am going a little reducing the element size. Means I'm going with here 3.2, 1.6, or 0.8, like that. So what I'm doing, I'm discretizing very small. So now, right now, whatever I'll just show you here only directly. If 6.4 the mesh will look like this. Okay.
So, sir,
What I will do, I will,
again, that element must have some shape. So, is
yes,
this the tetrahedron?
yes, it's a tetrahedral. Okay. So if you want to change the mesh method as well, that is also possible. By default, it's a tetrahedral ANSYS does. If you want to change with any other methods, like if I suppose apply onto this, so ANSYS has certain other methods as well, like hex dominant. It will be like a brick structures. There is a sweep, multi-zone, and layer tetrahedrons, which we use for additive manufacturing. So tetrahedrons, which I have used this. Okay, if it depends upon the what kind of geometry it is. As a complex geometry, we use the tetrahedrons, and depending upon what kind of analysis also we are doing. If suppose the block-like structures are there where hex we can model, we can do the hex as well there. If suppose I just change the size, so it will just reduce the, say, 2 so it will reduce the size of mesh element, and it will create a more finer mesh like this. Okay, which will capture the correct what I will say geometry of curvature and everything of that particular geometry. So when you increase when you find the mesh, you will go towards the accurate results. At particular point, the result accuracy will be same. Like I will just show you on to the Whatever I am unable to. Sorry, I'm unable to come out from this. Okay. Okay, if I draw something here. Okay, so here like my number of elements will be there, and here accuracy will be there. Then if I increase the number of elements, my accuracy will increase, but it will be asymptotic at this particular point. Here is my 100% accuracy here. So after certain nodes and elements, it will not make any much difference on the result accuracy. That is one thing.
Exactly.
So this is the I think your first question. Okay. The second question you asked about the how the we can add the whatever we deteriorating of the material, like of the your what I will say, like bone is going to be deteriorate, their material properties are going to change, right? That the strength is going to decrease.
Reduce, yes.
Yes. Okay, so that things also we can add here. Basically, we can apply that material properties and certain where it is there. I just 1 minute. I'll show you this. Some of the means like deteriorating material properties also we can apply. We can apply that things, and we can change that material property, and we can understand that results as well. So that is also possible if you want to take into consider the material or the bone density or strength which is going to be deteriorate over a period of time.
Fine, sir. Another question from the participant, that is it possible to import the DICOM image in ANSYS to design an implant?
No, DICOM, I think that is a 3D scan model. So we have to convert that DICOM into STL format, I guess. So that you can convert into the STL file format, that scan data, and you can create you can import that STL file format into a file into ANSYS.
And again, that DICOM image has to be converted into the 3D model first, and then
Yes,
it can be.
yes. Actually, DICOM is, I believe, it's the scan data only at
Yes.
very specific resolutions. So there are certain softwares which can do convert that scan data into a 3D model. They can create that into 3D model, and depending upon the scan resolutions, and then they come up with a STL file format, which I showed here basically. Like here you can see already it is faceted data is there. So this is a STL file format. You can convert that DICOM into STL file format, and then you can import into the ANSYS.
Okay, sir. One more question from my side. Is it possible to get a data of a bone itself in the form of what is the density of a bone, or what is the strength of a bone, which we have taken from the MRI image, or any of a model which is converted from the DICOM to the STL format? Can we have any idea of whether the density of the bone, what it is, and what is the strength of a bone?
No, basically the strength and the density are like a mechanical property. I don't think so. We can through this scan data we can get, and what ANSYS is understood is in terms of the material model which is available. Like what I will say in terms of the density or Young's modulus, or if orthotropic material model is properties are there for bones. So in that fashion, in specific direction, what is the strength in Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio, in that way ANSYS understood. So we have to give that as an input to the ANSYS.
Okay,
For
sir.
this, you can refer the literature to with respect to age group or gender wise, what will be the properties for that. You can get that I think in the literature, or you have to test it then for that to get accurate material properties.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable inputs and your time. So we are about to end the session, but still, if anyone have any question, they can ask in the chat box. I will repeat the question.
Or else, if right now you do not have any questions or you want to discuss furthermore, you can drop a mail as well. No
Yes,
issue.
yes. The mail is visible on the screen. You can note it down, and anytime you can send us question to this mail ID. Okay, sir. So we are ending this session. Maniyar sir, thank you very much for sparing the time. Even if there is a question, I will send it to you to the mail, sir.
Okay. So thank you for giving me opportunity once again for
Thank you, sir.
such a platform to share my knowledge. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Okay. Bye. So all participants are informed that we are also sharing the recorded video onto the YouTube channel. That will be shared in the WhatsApp group, and make sure we will be reach after half an hour because third session will be started. So we are ending this test session, and you can leave now.